The gas station lights flickered in the cold rain, casting long reflections on the wet asphalt. It was nearly midnight, and the world felt asleep. Jake, a tired single dad, stood by his old pickup truck, the hood open, steam hissing out like a sigh of exhaustion. He just finished his second shift at the factory and was driving home to his little boy, Sam, when the truck gave up. He cursed under his breath and wiped his hands on his jeans, already soaked through. Then, from the far side of the lot, he heard it, soft crying. He looked over and saw a woman sitting in a small blue car, head buried in her hands. Her shoulders shook with sobs. For a moment, he hesitated. It wasn't his business. He had enough problems of his own. But something inside him, maybe that part that had learned compassion through hardship, wouldn't let him ignore her. He walked over slowly and knocked gently on her window. "Hey, you okay?" She startled, wiping at her tears before lowering the window just a crack. Her voice trembled. "I'm fine. Please just leave me alone." Jake nodded but stayed where he was. "You don't look fine. I know that look. I've been there." The woman looked up then. Her eyes were red but kind. She studied him for a moment before whispering, "You have no idea what I've lost." Jake leaned against her car door, rain dripping from his hat. "Ma'am, maybe not, but I know what it's like to feel like you got nothing left. I buried my wife 3 years ago, got a 6-year-old boy at home who thinks I can fix everything, even when I can't." The woman blinked, surprised. You're a single dad." "Yeah," he said simply. "Name Jake." She sniffed, nodding faintly. "I'm Claire." The silence hung for a moment before he said gently, "Can I help you with something? You stuck here." She hesitated. "My car ran out of gas. I had my purse stolen earlier. I was driving for hours trying to clear my head, but I ended up here and I just couldn't anymore." Jake nodded slowly. Without a word, he took the gas can from his truck, filled it, and started pouring it into her tank. "You don't have to." "I know," he said, cutting her off softly, "but I'm gonna anyway." When he finished, she whispered, "How can I repay you?" He smiled faintly. "Just get home safe. That's payment enough." She looked at him, studying his weary face, his clothes worn from hard work, the deep tiredness behind his eyes. "You're a good man, Jake." He shrugged. "Try to be." She got in her car and drove off, looking back once through the rain as if wanting to say more. Jake went back to his truck, managed to get it running again, and finally made it home to his little boy. The next morning, he was up early, packing Sam's lunch for school when he heard a knock at the door. When he opened it, there she was, Claire, standing on his porch, sunlight glinting off a black car parked in his driveway. She looked different today, confident, composed, her tears gone. "Claire," he asked, confused, "you okay?" She smiled softly. "I owe you an explanation." He blinked. "For what?" "For last night," she said, "and for this." She stepped aside, revealing a man in a suit behind her holding a thick folder. "I wasn't running away from my life," she continued. "I was running from the noise of it. My husband died 2 years ago and I took over his real estate business. I built it into something huge, but somewhere along the way I lost myself. Last night I was ready to give up. And then you, just a stranger, showed me kindness without asking for anything." Jake's brow furrowed. "I didn't do much." She shook her head. "You did more than you know. You reminded me what humanity looks like, so I'd like to give something back." The man in the suit stepped forward, handing Jake the folder. Inside were property papers, a title deed, his name printed clearly. Jake blinked in shock. "What is this?" "It's yours," Claire said. "A fully paid property on the east side, a house, a real one for you and your boy. I saw your old truck, the oil stains on your hands, and the picture of your son in your wallet when you were helping me. You deserve better." Jake stared at her, speechless. "Ma'am, I can't accept this." "You can," she said softly, "because it's not charity, it's gratitude." Tears filled his eyes. "You don't even know me." Claire smiled, her own eyes glistening. "I know enough. I know you're a man who helped a stranger in the rain when no one else would. That's all I need to know." Sam ran out then, tugging at Jake's leg. "Dad, who's that?" Jake knelt, resting a hand on his son's shoulder. "Someone who reminds me that miracles still happen, buddy." Claire laughed softly, then turned to leave. But before she did, she looked back and said, "Jake, sometimes the people who seem lost are the ones sent to find us." He stood there on his porch, watching her car disappear down the road, holding the keys to a new home he never dreamed of. Later that evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Jake whispered to himself, "Guess the rain really does wash more than just dirt away." And in that moment, the single dad who had nothing but heart finally realized, kindness always finds its way home.